Namaste and a very good evening to all of you. I welcome you to my channel, The Outlier. My name is Mithun. In today's video, I'll be talking about data entry form. How do we create a data entry form using Microsoft Excel? Even before I proceed to show you how to create a data entry form using Microsoft Excel, may I request you to subscribe to my channel, also like and share my videos. Let me begin by giving you a basic insight about data entry form. Then we'll be looking at two different approaches of creating a data entry form. We'll also look at some of the advantages of creating a data entry form. Typically, when you do any form of data entry, it is very boring, it is time consuming, and you're likely to make a lot of mistakes. Manual data entry is very time consuming. Instead of manual data entry, if you want the experience of data entry as pleasant as possible, what we can do is we can use data forms to do that. So instead of manually entering the values for every column, what we can do is we can make this entire experience more delightful, more pleasant by creating a data form. One important question here is, when should you use a data form? The answer is very simple. When the tables are very wide and you want to avoid horizontal scrolling, my apologies. When you want to avoid horizontal scrolling and when you have a really wide data set or a table, that's when you can use a data entry form. One way of inputting data would be to manually enter the values. As you can see here, I've got 6 columns. The first is serial number. Then I've got name, gender, age, income, and experience of the employees. Let me show you approach number 1, where you can manually enter the values here. The first person, let's say, is Suraj. He is a male. His age is 25 years. His income is, let's say, 10,000, and his experience is 5 years. The second person here, let's say, is Moise. He is again a male. His age could be 28 years. His income is 15,000, and his experience is 8 years. The third person here could be Shahid. Again, a male here. Age could be 26 years. His income could be 16,000, and the experience that is appropriate for Shahid would be around 11 years of experience. Now, in case you notice any error, let's say for Shahid, you feel that the income is incorrectly specified. So you need to select this particular cell, go back to the formula and edit this value. All this is time consuming and it is very boring. Question is, can we do this in a more efficient way, in a better way, with a lot more customization? So to do this, we would definitely need what is called as the data entry form. Right now, when you look at the existing ribbon here, the data entry form is not visible. It is not present by default. We would have to enable this particular option, that is the data entry form. Only then the data entry form will be available to you. Now, I'm going to show you how can you enable the data entry form. I repeat, how can you enable the data entry form? One very simple and straightforward way of enabling the data entry form is to click on the file menu. Once you click on the file menu, you can move on to the last of the options. My apologies, this is not the one. Let me do this again. I can go to file menu. Here you have more. Within this option of more, you have 2 items. One is feedback and the second one is options. Let me go ahead and select options. This opens up a new window which is called as Excel options. So this is the name of the window. I'm going to select what is called as customize ribbon. I repeat, I have selected the option customize ribbon. You will see two sections here. One is the section on the left hand side. The second one is the section on the right hand side. If you look at the main heading, it says choose commands from. Right now, all these commands which Excel is displaying are all popular commands. You can click on the drop down menu, and there are two ways in which you can enable the data entry form. One is you can choose all commands, or you can choose the option commands not in the ribbon. Any of these two items you can go ahead and click. I will select the third option, which is all commands. In a couple of seconds, you can see Excel will refresh and give you a whole range of options from where you can go ahead and enable the data form option. What I'll do is I'll select the first button here and press F. There are a lot of options starting with the letter F. I'm looking for the option of form. It must be somewhere here. Yes, you can see here. Finally, we have arrived at form. Now, this is the option that will help you create a data entry form. Once you select this particular option, you can see here under the home menu bar, there are what are called as groups. I have created this particular group, which is called as Excel Secrets. I'm going to push this particular option for form and hit the add button. You can see here forms which were earlier present in the left hand side has now been transferred to the options under the right hand side. So under the Excel Secrets group, you have two options. One is camera and the second one is form. To enable this option, right now you can see at the background, it shows only camera. It still does not show me form. To enable the option of forms, you can go ahead and click the OK button. But before clicking on the OK button, I want to again reiterate the steps here. Go to Excel options, then customize ribbon. Make sure that you have selected all commands. Under the all commands section, you can select form and choose the add button. And then you can go on to click the option of OK. Let me press the OK button here. Now you can see here in the ribbon under the Excel Secrets, we have two new items. This is camera, which I had done some time back. And now I have got the form option available. The shortcut key for the option of form is Alt-D-O. I repeat, Alt plus D plus O. Now, what I'm going to do at this stage is to enable the data entry form. Now, this particular information that you have needs to be converted into an Excel table. What you have right now is just a data set. For you to create a data entry form, you have to convert this into an official Excel table. That is the first thing that you need to do to use a data entry form. So how do I turn this into an official Excel table? Now, a simple option that you can use is to simply press what is called as Control T. So let me go ahead and choose the option Control T. The moment I press Control T, you can see here, it says create table. Where is the data for your table? So this is the range. My table has headers. Of course, it has headers. So I made sure that I put a tick mark in the checkbox. So this is how you can convert the existing data into a table, which is the first prerequisite for you to create a data entry form. Excel now gives you some basic form option. You can go ahead and change the table style. You can choose the option clear here. This is the default setting for a table. I can just go ahead and use the option clear. You'll be able to see this particular table as is available, as is visible in the screen. Now, what I want to do is to use the data entry form. I'll select a particular cell inside the table. And please be aware, you need to select either a cell or a range of the cells within the table. If you place the cursor outside the table and choose form, you can see here Excel displays an error. It says this can't be applied to the selected range. Select a single cell in a range and try again. So please make sure that you are not selecting a cell outside the existing table. You can select any cell and then go on to click the option of form. You can see here, the moment I click on the option form, a new data entry form dialog box opens up. You can see here, these are the fields. You can see here serial number, name, gender, age, income, and experience. These are nothing but the column headings you can see at the background. It is showing you information for the first person. His serial number is 1, name is Suraj, his gender is male, so on and so forth. There are a lot of buttons which will help you navigate through in this data entry form. What you can do is, this is the first line. If you want to move to the second line, you can just click on Find Next. You can see here, this displays the information for Moise. Similarly, again, if you say Find Next, this shows you the information in the third row, which refers to Shahid. If you want to create an additional line, that is line number 4, all that you need to do is click on this particular option, which is called as New. The moment you click on this particular option New, you can see all the options are refreshed. Now you can see an empty box for these 6 variables. Let us say I want to create the 4th person's details. So I'm going to type serial number 4. Here, the name of the person can be Ravi. His gender is male. Age is 24. Income could be 18,000. His experience is 6. So far, what you have done is to simply enter the details of an employee, which is called as Ravi. It is not appearing here as a new line. It will appear the moment you hit the enter button. As you can see here, I've clicked on the enter button. So the 4th record is being added. Let me do this once again. Let's say I am creating a fresh record. This is serial number 5. Here, I'm going to give the details of Suresh. His gender is that he's a male. His age could be 27 years. Income is 21,000. And the years of experience that he has is 10. To add this to the existing table, please click on the option New. So you can see here, there are 5 employees with their name, their gender, age, income, and experience, so on and so forth. Like this, you can go on adding data here. It makes entering data a very, very pleasant experience. You don't need to scroll from left to right again and again, because this is very, very descriptive. It just describes the variable name. Under this, next to this rather, you can feed in the details. There are a couple of options which I'd like to explain here. We have seen manual data entry. We have seen how to enable the data entry feature. Let us say you feel like editing some of this data. So what you can do is you can go to find previous. You can see this button which says find previous. The moment you go to find previous, it starts with the last record, namely Suresh. I want to go back to Shahid's record here. Let me go one step back. This is Ravi's record. And here you can see serial number 3 corresponds to Shahid. Now, for some reason, let us say I want to change his salary. His salary could be 17,000, right? In case you want to change this number from the current value of 16,000 for Shahid, you want to revise and edit his income, you can select, you can edit the new number, you can supply the new number and simply hit enter. You can see Shahid's salary is being revised. Now, what we're seeing is Ravi's record. This is another scenario which I'd like to give here. Let us say I've made a mistake. Accidentally, instead of typing Ravi's income as 18,000, let's say by mistake, I have added 2 zeros. Now, suddenly I realize, oh my God, this is a mistake on my part. This cannot be such a big number. A person in my company is not getting paid 1 crore 80. I hope I'm right. So sorry, this is 18 lakh. So nobody is getting paid 18 lakh. This is happening because I've accidentally added 2 zeros. How do we edit this? All that you need to do is you need to click on the option restore. The moment you click on restore, you can see here, it displays Ravi's earlier income value, which is 18,000, which is the correct income for Ravi. I repeat, the moment you make any mistake, you can hit the restore button. Mind you, this is the warning. I like to draw your attention to one very, very important point. The restore button works provided you have not pressed the enter button. The moment you press enter button, the value will be reflected in the table. So let me again explain the restore button. Let us say Ravi's age right now is 24. Accidentally, I've pressed a 0. Now I've realized, oh my God, his age cannot be 240. Nobody's age can be 240. And I'm finding it a bit hard to recall what's his original age. What do? You can just hit the restore button. You can see here, this displays the correct age for Ravi. This is how the criteria button is, this is how the restore button is very, very useful. Now, one other thing that you could do is to search for a particular value. How do you search for a particular value? You can go up, you can see here, you can use the scroll bar, you can scroll up, it displays Suraj's record. Similarly, if you want a specific entry, you can use either the find previous value or find next value. If you are searching a specific value, what you can do is, firstly, you can hit the new button. What this does is, it clears every value and it just gives you blank entries for the 6 columns that you have specified. Let us say I'm interested in looking for those employees who are getting paid an income of greater than 17,000. This is where this wonderful feature called as criteria comes into picture. Now, since the criteria of search is income greater than 17,000, under the income field, I can go ahead and specify greater than or equal to 17,000. So this is the value that you can specify. I'd like to draw your attention to a very, very important point. Under the criteria section, you can specify either greater than or greater than or equal to sign. Similarly, less than or less than equal to sign can also be specified. You can also specify wildcard by putting a asterisk symbol. Let's look at all those people whose income is greater than 17,000. What you can do is specify your criteria. Once you specify the criteria, you can choose find next. If we go to the top, you can see here, this is the first person. I'm going to clear this. Okay, anyway, the scroll bar is going to go at the extreme end. I'm going to specify the criteria of search as greater than or equal to 17,000. Here, instead of hitting the find next button, what I can do is I can say find previous value. You can see here, the moment I hit the find previous button, it displays that Suresh, whose serial number is 5, has an income of 21,000. Is it true? Yes. You can see here the background, Suresh's income is 21,000. Let me again hit the find previous button. It further highlights Ravi's income, which is greater than which is greater than the criteria that we had specified of 17,000. Let me again hit find previous. It is showing that Shahid's income is also exceeding the criteria that we have specified. Remember, the criteria was greater than or equal to. So it can either be greater than 17,000 or equal to 17,000. So the value of Shahid's income of 17,000 is meeting the criteria, and therefore it is displaying Shahid's information. Let me go ahead and hit this find previous button again. It says now it is actually displaying 15,000, which is not really meeting the criteria. So I don't have to look any further after this. So this is how criteria button helps you look for all those people who meet the criteria that you have specified. Now, what I like to do is close this particular button. So this is the criteria option. I'm going to delete this. One additional thing that you can do as far as the data entry form is to enable the data validation criteria. I repeat, you can use the data validation criteria. Let me select the column age, and I want to put a rule saying that a person's age cannot be beyond, let us say, 30 years, right? So I'm selecting the column age here. You can select the range for age as well. Once you do this, you can go to the option data. Under the data section, you have what is called as data tools. The third option here is data validation. You can see here under the settings section, validation criteria allow any value. Here in the drop down menu, I'm going to choose a whole number. What is this whole number? For age, the valid criteria would be anywhere between 20 and let us say 30. So this is the criteria that we are specifying. You can also put a error message here. How do you specify an error message here? You can specify the error message by typing, please type age between 20 and 30 only. So this is the message that we are specifying. Please type age between 20 and 30 only. It can't exceed this particular range. So let me just click on OK here. Now, once I do this, I can open up the form. How do I open up the form? Let me go back to the home button and choose the data entry form. You can see here, Microsoft Excel found a row of data immediately above your table. Okay, the range has not been selected properly. So let me click on this particular one cell and choose form now. You can see here, it is giving me the details of Suraj. Let's say I press new and I'm going to type the value of age as 45 years. I'm going to press the new value for age as 45 years and hit enter. You can see here, Excel displays a message. I do agree that it has sent the value of 45 in the data, but it is displaying a message which says, please type age between 20 and 30 only. Here, you have the option of retry, cancel, or help. Either you can cancel or retry. I'll just retry this option. Let's say I specify the value of 50, which is again violating the criteria that I had specified. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit the enter button. Remember, the criteria that we had specified was that age must and should be between 20 and 30 only. 15 years is clearly violating our specified criteria, and therefore Excel again displays a message which says, please type age between 20 and 30 only. So let me hit retry and specify the value as 23. 23 is clearly a number between 20 and 30. So now I should not be getting any error. You can see here, there is no error. The value of 23 is sent to the table. So this is how you can specify the data validation criteria as well in the data form, in the data entry form that you have specified. So we've looked at a wide variety of options. We've seen how you can enter a new record. In case you want to delete, you can delete a record. How you can restore the value. You can move, you can toggle from previous record to the next record here using these buttons, find previous and find next. You can specify a criteria so that you can look for only those values which meet the criteria. And finally, you have the close button. So let me just click on the close button here. We have looked at data validation as an option. Next, what I want to show is a new data set. If we go on to sheet 2, you can see here, this is a new data set. I have got row ID, order date, customer name, category, sales, quantity, discount, and profit. So far, what I showed you was one specific application of data entry form, which is to input the data. In sheet 1, what we did was we created the data entry form to feed or to input the data. In sheet 2, I'm going to show you another beautiful application of data entry form. What is this application number 2? The application number 2 of a data entry form is that you can look for specific values satisfying the criteria in an existing data set. You can see here, this is the existing data set. In this existing data set, I am interested in specifically looking for specific values which meet the criteria. So firstly, let me convert this into a table. How do I convert this into a table? You can simply say Control T and hit the OK button. Let me select this entire table range. Now say Control T. It is asking where is the data for your table. You can see here there's a small dialog box, create table dialog box, under which it says where is the data for your table. You can specify the range manually here. My table has headers. We have put a tick mark in this checkbox and we can just click on the option OK. Now this is the first step, which means basically we have converted the existing data to a table. Now it becomes very, very easy for us to create a form. To enable the form, you can use this shortcut key Alt-D-O, or if it is difficult for you to remember this particular option Alt-D-O, you can go to the Home button And in this particular group of Excel secrets, you can click on form option. You can see here, form has picked up all the column headings. It is showing row ID, order date. You can compare what I am reading with the column headings at the back. Order ID, customer name, category, so on and so forth. And it's displaying the value for the first customer, namely Claire. If you click on find next, you can see here, there's a second record for Claire. Again, the customer name is the same. Let's make a move on to the third customer, Darren. All that I need to do is find next. This is good, but what I'm interested in would be to look for specific values. You can see here under the table section. Let me just close this for a moment. The background can be slightly distracting. So let me remove the default table option. Table design. Here I can go to table styles and clear the default table setting so that the form can pick up the values easily. You can see here, this is the table. I can go to home button and choose form here. Click on the option new. This will give me a completely blank entry for all the column heading. Now, what is the criteria that we are specifying? Let us say we are interested in all those customers who are responsible for making a loss. You can specify any criteria, but I'm specifically interested in all those people whose profit value is less than or equal to 0. So I'm going to ignore all the variables, head straight to the last variable, that is profit. Profit value should be less than or equal to 0. Remember, this is the criteria that I have specified. The criteria is that the person's profit should be less than or equal to 0. Now, for this, what we are interested in is to make Excel identify specific records. How do I do this? Let me choose the option find next. It is not doing anything. Let me remove this, hit the option criteria. Here, I'm going to specify the criteria as less than or equal to 0. So I want Excel to recognize all those cell values whose profit is less than or equal to 0. Once you specify the option of less than or equal to, you can choose find next or maybe find previous. You can see here, there is a record for a person called as Anne, row number 9978. Now, for this person, you can see here, the profit is 0, which is meeting our criteria. I can again go ahead and choose the option find previous. So it is highlighting row ID 9963. Let me see if there's a way of scrolling down. There is no way in which I can scroll down at the background. So all that we are doing here is basically we are expecting Excel to highlight all those cases wherein the profit is negative. Clearly, for this person, the profit value is -67, which is a loss. Let me again hit the previous button. You can look at another person, Christine. Her profit value is -1.7. So like this, the moment you click on find previous, you are able to see a customer by the name of Keith. His profit value is -40. So these are the customers who are responsible for making a loss. So as you go on to click find previous, it displays all those records here where there is a negative value for profit. So this is how you can see here, This is all the profit value is minus, and therefore implying that these are the customers who are responsible for making a loss. It looks like there are a lot of people who are showing a negative value for profit, and therefore when you click on find previous button, there are a lot of entries for negative values. So this is how you can look for a particular value. You can search for a particular value by clicking the data entry form. With this, I have come to the end of today's video. In today's video, we have seen what exactly is a data entry form and how it is better than manual data entry. What data entry form does is it makes sure that your experience of data entry is as pleasant as possible. We can use data entry forms to even look for specific values. We spoke about when should you use a data entry form. You can use a data entry form when the tables are very wide and you want to avoid horizontal scrolling. There are two major applications of data entry form. One is a straightforward application, which is to simply impute the data values. The second is to look for specific values. Within data entry form, you can see there are multiple buttons. New, as the name itself suggests, it helps you enter a new line. You can delete the existing line. You can restore certain values. You can find previous values, or you can also find next values. Similarly, the criteria button becomes very, very important because it helps you search specific entries which meet your criteria. And the last button that we have is the close button. As the name itself suggests, you can close the data entry form with this particular option. With this, I have come to the end of today's video. I thank you very much for watching this particular video. I request you to subscribe to my channel, also like and share my videos. Thank you very much once again. Have a great day ahead.